Okay, I apologize for that last video being way too long. I should have stopped in the middle, but I got carried away. So we finished talking about muscle tissue, nervous tissue, and then the epidermis and the dermis in the last video. Now we're going to cover the accessory organs, the other organs that are part of the integumentary system. So first we have sudoriferous glands. These are commonly called sweat glands, and I'm fine with that if you want to call them that on the test. You may call them sweat glands. They are coiled glands. Whoops. Sorry about that. They are coiled glands with a duct, a tube that leads out, and it empties through a pore. So that's where what your pores are for. That's where sweat comes out. Sweat, its function is to cool the body through evaporation. The other glands of the skin are called sebaceous glands. These are associated with hair follicles. So this one's empty, but there should be a hair in that follicle. So this is the sebaceous gland. Sudoriferous is sweat. This is the sebaceous gland, and it's going to release through a hair follicle. So, where you don't have hair, you don't have sebaceous glands, like the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. Sebum, the function of sebum, to further waterproof skin and kind of moisturize your hair. It's an oil. It's the oil in your skin that's protective. So it helps slow bacterial growth, and it makes the skin and hair a little bit more resistant to water. So they're not going to soak up all kinds of water. Hairs. Let me see if I can move this little thing. Move it up there. Okay, so this is a hair. It grows in a tube called a hair follicle. So the hair follicle is the tube that it grows in. The shaft is the visible portion, while the root is under the skin. And most of a hair, including part of the root, is dead. Cell division takes place right here at the base of a hair in a spot called the hair matrix. It's part of what is known as the hair bulb, which is this whole area here. The hair matrix is where the cells are dividing. You've got keratinocytes, just like you do in the epidermis of the skin, that are produced and slowly push up, fill with keratin, and then die. Because a hair needs access to a blood supply, we have this little bump right here. I'm not going to draw on it because it makes it too hard to see. Let me see if I can blow it up. Whoops, just went backwards. Never mind. Sometimes I can do it and sometimes I can't. So this little bump right here is called a papilla. These are also called papillae. Remember, these bumps, that's the papillary layer of the dermis. The papilla has a little artery, a little vein, and a little capillary connecting the two. In this area right here, this little bump, remember a papilla is a bump, in the hair bulb. So the hair bulb has two important parts: the matrix, where cells divide, and the papilla, which has blood vessels. Oops, I just drew a line through them. Blood vessels. And those help the dividing cells get oxygen, nutrients, so they can divide, produce keratinocytes. Keratinocytes push up, and as they push up, they fill with keratin and die. Now we do have a little muscle here, right there, called the piloerector muscle. Pilo means hair, erector means to stand up. These muscles give you goosebumps. They make your hair stand on end when you're scared or when you're cold. So they're They're little muscles, and they are smooth muscles, because you cannot sit there and give yourself goosebumps right now unless you are very cold, very scared, or in some people, if you're listening to a piece of music and it just moves you, some people will get goosebumps then as well. So that's what this muscle does. Piloerector, hair stands up. And these are all parts you should know on the model of the skin, which will be out in lab. Our last accessory organ are the nails. The nail plate is basically what you see. The nail root here is under the cuticle, which is technically called the eponychium. Just cuticle is fine. Now in there, in that root, there is a nail matrix right at the base, and that is where cells divide. And then the skin underneath your nails is called the nail bed. Function of your nails is to make it easier to grab things. Otherwise your fingers would be kind of squishy. Now you do have bones in your fingers and your toes called the phalanges, but having nails makes it easier to grab things. And that's it.